Hello and welcome to Chick Chat. I'm your host Jessica Fowler and I'm here with Sandy Jameson and Sonia Thomas. We come together every episode to talk about topics that we think are really important to leading happier lives. So thank you for joining us. Today's topic I think is very pertinent to me but also to everyone listening and watching, and that's mindfulness. And we just looked up the definition of mindfulness, and that's really just being present and aware of the moment you're in. So seems pretty straightforward, but I think with all the technology and things going on in our life that, I don't know, I think we get drawn in a lot of places. I think I was saying that this is important for me as a topic because 2017, one of my New Year's resolutions was unitasking. Because I always thought it was a gift to multitask and be able to do a million things at once. And I think we actually lose a lot from doing that. So
yeah, I think it's more important to focus on one thing at a time, for sure. It's about being mindful and present in what you're currently doing without the monkey brain, right? Thinking about a million other things. No, be present in what you're doing, be engaged in what you're doing. And I think that leads to happier lives.
Yeah, I need to definitely work on I have to be mindful about being mindful.
Yeah.
Because my mind will run a million different directions at once. Like I can look very calm on my computer, but meanwhile it's like ding, 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 ding. And so I carve out time to be mindful, like to walk mindfully or to sit
And that's
do
great.
meditation.
It's about being aware, I think, is the first step.
Mm-hmm.
And being mindful is being aware of what's currently going on and recognizing. I have a quote actually that I like to say, be mindful and present in what you're doing, and when you find that you're not, be mindful and present.
Oh, I like
Right?
that. But to your
Nice.
point, it is
Yeah.
about being aware of being mindfulness.
Yeah.
Being mindful. You've done a couple podcasts on mindfulness.
Sure. I mean, I think it's an underlying theme for just my life philosophy, right? It's mindful eating, and I mean, I can't remember, I've done 51 podcasts, or I don't know, maybe 53 by this point, but definitely being mindful is something that I'm conscious of because I have two little children that I'm teaching, and I want them to be mindful about what's going on. You know, my 4-year-old will interrupt me, and I say to her, be mindful about what mommy is currently doing, and wait to ask your question until it's a more appropriate time, because they just interrupt because it's so important to them. I get that, but it's not always the best time. So be mindful and present about what's happening, and then therefore there's an element of respect.
Yeah, I think you get more out of a moment when you're mindful about it. Like even, I'm playing stepmom right now. Not playing. I'm becoming a stepmom. And I love it.
This is real, Jess.
Yeah, it's real. It's not just pretend. I'm adulting. But even with her, like I'm very mindful of, okay, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, and like I don't even think of my phone, or like it's very structured, and when we're doing it, I'm super engaged with her. And I find that like I'm not like that in the rest of my life with my friends, or like I'm doing stuff, or we're talking on the phone, and I might be doing the dishes, and like, but I really notice it with her that it's, you know, I have to be, because she warns, and she is
Demands that from your
demands
energy.
me, and I think it's great though, because I look at it like that was an awesome moment, but I don't apply that in other places in my life, which I think I need to.
Yeah, that's a cool example. Like I'm very present when I'm with my nephew. Because like I love playing with him, and like you have to be present or else like, God knows where he's going. Yeah. And kids are great for that. Like getting us into the present moment. Absolutely. Like stopping the monkey mind for a little bit.
Music is really good for that too, and singing brings you back to the moment.
I like that. I've worked on listening skills, which I think is part of mindfulness. Like most of my 20s, because if you find yourself like me, like I'm super hyper, or like you're waiting to say the next thing in a conversation. So there's a lot of techniques that I've learned how to be mindful of listening. Like repeat the last word they say. So I'm waiting, I'm listening and listening, and then I repeat the last word you said. I've carried through that conversation with you. I have fully listened, and then I pause. As opposed to, as soon as you start a conversation, I'm like, oh, I've got a good one.
That's
right?
common. People are so quick to jump in with their own stories without fully listening.
Yeah, and I still do it, but I've tried various techniques like that to help me be mindful of what people are saying.
Yeah.
Because I think
What was I going to say? I'm not being mindful.
I lost it.
I lost it.
But we talk on another episode about technology in social settings.
Right.
And that for me is the biggest thing about mindfulness, is just being mindful that someone's talking, or that you're in someone's presence, or that, you know, not like going to your phone. It's not even being mindful. It's rude to me when you're not engaged and you're not being mindful of my presence.
And that's why I leave my phone on silent, because one little ding your mind then wants to know, who was that? I need to check my phone. And instead of, being present and in the moment with your current situation, you're thinking about what's next. There's actually a technique. I had a friend who was like, how do you do it all? She's a new mom. She just got back to work, and she just reached out on her social media really, to find out like what are some solutions. And one of her friends said, 15 minutes at a time. And I love this, and I've been applying this rule since I learned it like 2 weeks ago, because when my daughter will ask me, she wants to know all the details, and sometimes we're doing something different, and I'll just say, Reese, we're going to focus on the next 15 minutes, and when we're finished that, we can talk about what you want to talk about that's happening. Like, it's not important to talk about that now. Let's just work on the next 15 minutes. We're currently making breakfast. We can talk about that when it's pertinent, instead of
I like that.
on top of everything else that we're doing right now. So focus on just the next 15 minutes and being mindful about what that brings to your life, or what you're currently doing in that 15 minutes. I find it takes away some of the overwhelm for me personally.
Yeah.
Because, with 2 children who ask a million questions, and I love to answer them, but sometimes it's like, wow, I can't even think straight because I'm currently doing something and I'm asked to do too many things, and I then feel frazzled. So if I focus on the next 15 minutes and share that with them, I find it's easier to stay mindful and present and focused.
Right, and they're
engaged.
being respectful of that. You came in tonight, I remember, just a while ago, and you were engaged in something, and we started talking over you, and you were like, I'm sorry, I can't fully engage. And I thought that was incredible. I really, you were honest about, I can't be mindful, I can't be fully engaged in this conversation, so I'm letting you know. You were fully aware that you couldn't be mindful.
And I'm grateful that you are open to that,
Oh,
because
it was
that was
incredible.
I don't worry about being rude, but I certainly thought, well, I hope this isn't being rude. But when you trust everything, I knew I couldn't be present in that conversation. I was focused on something else, and I felt like I needed to share.
I thought it was great because had you not, and then not looked engaged, right? We make the worst assumptions. We think different intentions.
Right.
I could have been like, oh, you don't like our conversation, or you're thinking the worst of it when you're just actually not engaged. So huge takeaway for me on mindfulness is, if I can't be present, I either ask for 15 minutes or let someone know that I'm not, because then I know I'm putting my best self forward when I can.
Yeah, it reduces stress in the group and personally too. I like to meditate to reduce stress. I do mindful meditations, and our body's with us wherever we go. So when we're
I like that.
So we're stuck somewhere in a car or on a subway, I drop down to my stomach and just focus on my breathing for a little bit, and just focusing on where the tension is in my body. So it doesn't feel like a waste of time. I'm reconnecting to myself. That's
I
the
like that.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think a very important subject. Tell us in the comments below how you, I guess you act on mindfulness, you apply mindfulness.
Yeah. What things do you do to practice mindfulness?
Yeah. Again, very important topic. So thank you, as always, for joining us. We truly appreciate it. We hope that these are valuable conversations. And if you have ideas, if there's anything, nothing is off the table for us. So if you want to talk about menstrual cycles, we'll do it. So yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
We can do it again. We can do it again.
Never mind. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sex, that's a good one. I might actually close that one. No, really though, anything you want to talk about, we're open and willing. Do share, comment, do all that great stuff, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks.